Tonight, President Obama goes to the heart of the Muslim world to open a dialogue. But right on cue, Osama bin Laden interrupts with a new threat to America. I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, the mystery of Flight 447. As more pieces of the plane are discovered in the Atlantic, reports indicate it may have broken up in the sky in a violent storm. Help for ailing canines. The FDA approves the first drug developed specifically for treating cancer in dogs. And a store owner pulls a gun on a would-be robber. What happened next? Probably not what you think.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. We're beginning tonight with two very different messages for the Muslim world. The one President Obama will deliver in Cairo tomorrow, that America wants to improve relations, and the one delivered today by Osama bin Laden, who accused the president of sowing the seeds of hatred. The president is at the start of a tour that takes him to Saudi Arabia and Egypt and then on to Germany and France. Mr. Obama is in Riyadh tonight, where our chief White House correspondent Chip Reed begins our coverage.
Arriving in Saudi Arabia, President Obama received a royal welcome today from King Abdullah. All the pomp is part of the message that the top goal of this visit and a speech in Egypt tomorrow is to open a new dialogue with the Muslim world and reverse the negative image of the United States.
I thought it was very important to come to the place where Islam began and to seek His Majesty's counsel and to discuss with him many of the issues that we confront here in the Middle East.
One of those issues is violent Islamist extremism. In a chilling reminder of the stakes, less than an hour after the president landed in this country that was home to 15 of the 19 9/11 hijackers, an audio tape from Osama bin Laden, who was born in Saudi Arabia, was aired on Al Jazeera television. In it, he accuses President Obama of planting new seeds of hatred and vengeance towards America. The source of his anger, the 3 million Pakistanis who have fled from the Swat Valley as the Pakistani army wages war on the Taliban and al-Qaeda, a war that bin Laden blames on President Obama. In his message, bin Laden threatens the American people.
فليتهيأ الشعب الأمريكي ليواصل جني ما يزرعه زعماء البيت الأبيض خلال السنين والعقود القادمة.
White House officials today downplayed the tape, arguing that bin Laden himself is feeling threatened by the president's Muslim outreach, which they insist will make it harder for al-Qaeda to find new recruits.
I don't think it's surprising that al-Qaeda would want to shift attention away from the president's historic efforts.
In a major speech in Cairo tomorrow, aides say the president will attempt to open the door of understanding by mentioning his own Muslim ties, which he sometimes downplayed during the campaign. For example, that his father was a Muslim and that he spent 4 years as a child living with his mother in Indonesia. CBS News national security analyst Juan Zarate says al-Qaeda is losing support.
This is an opportunity for the president, with his star power, with his Muslim family roots, with his embodiment of the American dream, to really chip away at that narrative.
The president will also address the stalled Middle East peace talks. Aides say he will not lay out a new detailed plan, but will forcefully tell each side what they need to do to get the process moving again. White House officials say some parts of the speech are still in flux, that the president was still furiously writing on the plane on the way over, and they say they expect him to keep making changes right up until speech time tomorrow. Katie?
Chip Reed in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia tonight. Presidential advisor David Axelrod said today the divide between the U.S. and the Islamic world won't be reversed with simply one speech. The White House views tomorrow's address as a beginning. Our chief foreign affairs correspondent Lara Logan is in Cairo, where Egyptians, like Americans, are concerned about terrorism and security.
From Iraq to Afghanistan to Pakistan, Islamic terrorists strike every day, widening the gap between the U.S. and the Muslim world. With his planned address from Cairo Thursday, President Barack Obama hopes he can bridge that divide and send a message of peace to the Muslim world. His speech, Egypt's prime minister told us in an exclusive interview today, could not come at a more critical moment.
I think time is of the essence. We need to work fast. And this is the message we've been getting from the American administration. They are hopeful to see something. We are hopeful to see something concrete happen before the end of this year. And I think it's very important that it would happen in the first year of this new administration.
What he's talking about first and foremost is the creation of a Palestinian state, an end to violence between Israel and the Palestinians, and how much pressure President Obama will be willing to put on Israel's conservative prime minister to achieve that.
The Palestinian-Israeli peace track is critical.
The Israeli-Palestinian issue is the core. You solve this problem, and you'll find that many, many of the other issues will have to fall in line.
Iran is the next critical issue, but not just its nuclear ambitions. The Prime Minister admitted Iran's support for terrorist groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza is causing alarm.
We're very worried about what has been happening so far. I mean, the influence with Hezbollah, the influence with, even with Hamas, and of course the influence in Iraq has worried us a lot.
Iran's ambitions for regional power may trouble Arab governments, but what they're looking for more than anything else is changes in the U.S.-Israeli relationship.
President Obama said recently that an Arab-Israeli peace would facilitate and precede a solution to the problem of Iran, showing that he's all too aware of the priorities on the Arab street. Or as one Arab commentator put it, the sole bridge to reconciliation is a Palestinian state.
The Arab world expects a lot of this president, from pulling out of Iraq to ending torture to closing Guantanamo Bay. Failure to achieve all this could be disastrous for Obama, but even worse if he wasn't trying to reach out to Muslims.
I think it'd be catastrophic. We have been in a downturn for so long. We're creating beds for terrorism to flourish.
Creating beds for terrorism to flourish?
That's true.
Terrorists who are threatened by Obama's popularity amongst Muslims do not want America's president to succeed. Lara Logan, CBS News, Cairo.
This next story may leave you shaking your head. Someone at the U.S. government printing office accidentally posted on the internet a secret report about American nuclear sites. Some pages were marked highly confidential and included maps showing precise locations of nuclear fuel stockpiles. It was posted on May 6th and finally taken down yesterday. Today, a top official with the Energy Department insisted national security was not compromised. Now to the search for clues in the crash of Air France Flight 447. The NTSB is sending a team to help the French with their investigation. And today, the first Navy ship from Brazil reached the crash zone hundreds of miles off the coast of Brazil. A memorial service was held in Paris. Mark Phillips is there.
The relatives and friends of the victims gathered at Notre Dame to remember the 228 who had been aboard the Air France flight. Some families said it was too soon to pay homage. The grief was still too raw and stayed away. Whatever comfort a religious service might provide, the many questions still hanging over this crash make coming to terms with it for family and friends of the victims very difficult, and few answers have been provided so far. The searchers gathered over the spot in the mid-Atlantic Ocean where a 15-mile fuel slick was among the evidence of where the plane went down. Debris, the searchers say, is spread over as much as 30 miles of ocean, spread by the currents or perhaps by the plane breaking up before impact. An authoritative Brazilian newspaper quotes local Air Force officials saying the Air France plane had sent out emergency messages indicating its flight control systems had deteriorated rapidly. Its airspeed, altitude, and direction controls were gone, and that its main flight computer had failed. The secret of what exactly happened is now likely lying in the plane's flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorders on the bottom of the Atlantic, and depths in the area reach down to almost 3 miles. The recorders send out signals called pings to which the searchers can home in, but that pinging goes on for only about a month. The French are sending a vessel called the Pourquoi Pas, the Why Not, with 2 submersibles on board that can dive to depths where the data recorders are lying. It's a race against time.
I'm not so optimistic. It's not only deep, it's also very mountainous.
Black boxes have been retrieved from beneath the sea before, but this search will be at the outer range of current technology. There are other means of analyzing what happened. A former Air Force meteorologist familiar with the area has plotted the Air France plane's flight path against satellite weather data at the time. He says the plane flew straight through some extremely violent storms and for a long time.
They went through three main thunderstorm clusters. The worst one was the last one, and that covered probably about 70 miles along the flight track.
The search for the black boxes can't begin until the ships get to the area, and rough weather, the same sort of rough weather suspected of contributing to this crash, is slowing those ships down. Katie.
Mark Phillips in Paris tonight. Thanks very much. On Capitol Hill today, Supreme Court nominee Sonia Sotomayor met with more senators, including Republican Lindsey Graham, who said he was troubled by her ideology. He was referring to a speech in 2001 in which the judge said she hoped the rulings of a, quote, wise Latina would be better than those of a white male without similar experiences, end quote. Last week, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich called her a racist for making that remark, but today he backed off. In a letter to supporters, he said the term racist was too strong. Also at the Capitol today, a tribute to America's 40th president. Nancy Reagan helped unveil a statue of her late husband in the rotunda, sculpted by Chaz Fagan of North Carolina. It contains fragments of the Berlin Wall, which President Reagan so famously challenged the Soviets to tear down.
The statue is a wonderful likeness of Ronnie, and he would be so proud.
Mrs. Reagan noted that the last time she was in the rotunda, it was for her husband's memorial service 5 years ago. And she added, it's nice to be back under happier circumstances. Coming up next here on the CBS Evening News, the rippling recession, how slow boat sales in Florida can affect a company that makes stirrups halfway around the world. Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke predicted again today recovery from this recession will be slow. In our series Financial Family Tree, we've been showing the recession's ripple effect. Falling demand for boats affects not only the Florida dealer, but the boat builder, the parts supplier, the parts maker, the fiberglass manufacturer, the landscaper, the restaurant owner, the California winemaker who also raises horses, and the man who sells stirrups. Tonight, Barry Peterson picks up the story across the Pacific.
The link between Martin Cohen's 30% fall in sales of stirrups in California to falling revenue in China is forged at this factory in Qingdao. Owner Hyun Koo Kim started business 40 years ago in his native South Korea and moved production here in 1990 to use China's cheaper labor. And Qingdao's port makes for easy shipping to the U.S., except these days, there's less to ship. The numbers tell the story. In a good year, they'll sell 20,000 of these stirrups. This year, they'll be lucky to sell 8,000. And there was 1 month this past spring when they got no orders at all. Fewer orders means fewer workers. Layoffs cut 500 workers down to 290. Their empty chairs litter the factory. Before the recession, what was it like in here?
This room is fully occupied.
And now I see empty chairs. What does that mean?
Yeah, this means orders reduced.
Factory workers earn about $225 a month, which may not sound like much, but many come from farming villages where the average wage is about $100 a month. That's why when factories closed in southern China, workers protested, trying to get their good jobs back. It didn't work. China's unemployment rate went from 4% last year to 9.4% this year. Back in Qingdao, a rise in unemployment means more empty seats at places like the Don Korea restaurant serving the factory district. Owner Ju Wan-il, worried about his business, cut prices. A bottle of Korean liquor went from $4.50 down to $2.98. And they're also cutting corners across town, where 1,900 workers at the Far East Gem and Jewelry Factory manufacture what America wears. Problem is, Americans don't want to spend as much as they used to. That means making fewer expensive gold pieces. Production is down by 280,000, but making more of cheaper silver jewelry, up 500,000 pieces this year. Yet when business slumped, bosses at this factory cut costs, not jobs, trying to keep trained workers for when the recession ends and sales come back. Other companies have cut staff, but not here, says Li Lian, so I'm not worried. But whether Li and her coworkers keep their jobs here at Far East Gym in Qingdao depends on orders booked at trade shows like this one in Las Vegas this week. It's an industry that has done anything but sparkle in the recession.
This has been the most turbulent time that the jewelry industry has experienced.
As the American sales executive Greg Altieri for Far East Gem and Jewelry knows only too well.
Many of our competitors have actually gone by the wayside.
If there is a diamond or a cubic zirconium in the rough here, it is the expectation that things will turn around. And if so, Chinese workers will feel secure in their future once beauty is back on America's shopping lists. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Qingdao, China.
We're coming full circle now, and next week we follow that jewelry salesman to the company's home office here in New York. And you'll find more about this series, including segments you might have missed, at cbsnews.com. Meanwhile, coming up next, a first-of-its-kind cancer drug. Patients are so happy about it, they're wagging their tails. Cancer survival rates in this country are better than ever for women and men, and now the odds are improving for man's best friend. As Dr. John LaPook tells us, the FDA today approved the first ever cancer drug for dogs.
All right, Stella.
9-year-old Stella is a beautiful mixed breed with a loving family.
Here's her moment to shine.
But 2 months ago, her owners found a lump on her leg. It turned out to be a mast cell tumor, a type of cancer diagnosed in almost 200,000 dogs every year.
It's the kind of cancer when treated appropriately or somewhat aggressively, you can have good successes with it, but it certainly can progress and kill an animal.
Until now, dogs like Stella with cancer have had limited options. The only drugs available to treat cancer in pets were really developed for humans, not animals.
But there's new hope with Palladia, the first cancer medication specifically developed for dogs and promising for other pets. The drug maker Pfizer said it caused 37% of mast cell tumors to disappear and had a positive effect in almost 60% of dogs.
It was really sad.
6 years ago, Lisa Peterson lost her dog Basha to cancer. She's grateful to see researchers apply lessons learned in people to pets.
It will allow all dog owners to, better care for their animals. As we all know, dogs are now our very valued family members.
Veterinarians are going to wait and see how Stella responds to conventional therapy before considering this new treatment. But it's comforting to know there may be another option for her.
It's got a lot of potential, and I think there are, we have good therapies for mast cell tumors, but we don't have great therapies. And so
he agrees.
Yeah.
Dr. John LaPook, CBS News, New York.
And coming up next, an attempted robbery like something out of a movie, but with a surprise ending. We began tonight with President Obama's efforts to promote greater understanding between America and the Muslim world. We end with a man who may have done more for that cause than any words could. Jeff Glora now with the story of a Long Island man who demonstrated what it truly means to be Muslim with one remarkable act of kindness.
Ever since the word got out, convenience store owner Mohammed Sahel has been getting calls from all over the country. Complete strangers.
I'm calling from Chicago. The world needs more nice people like you, so good job.
Which is fitting, considering what Sahel did for a complete stranger. The hood-wearing, bat-wielding would-be robber on this surveillance tape. What did he say to you?
The guy come over here and take the baseball bat and say, "Give me money, give me money."
Sahel reached under the counter for a 9mm rifle. Were you scared?
Not really. You know why? Because he have a baseball bat. He have a baseball bat. He's scared with me.
You had a gun.
I have a gun, of course.
The gun was not loaded, but the robber didn't know that. So he did what anyone would do when you bring a bat to a gunfight. He began begging.
We have no money. I have no food. I have no job.
Did he start crying in front of you?
Starting crying. He's a big man, and he's starting crying. I have no money, anything. And then after that, I feel bad for the person.
Sohail felt so bad for him, he did something that stunned everyone. He gave this man a gift, $40 and a loaf of bread, as long as that man promised to never rob again.
He said, oh, thank you very much. You are very nice. You are very gentle. You are very kind. Thank you very much. I want to be a Muslim just like you. I said, what?
Because this story wasn't unusual enough already, Sohail then began to recite a Muslim prayer with his would-be attacker before going to get him some milk. When he returned, the man was gone. He did take the bat. Left behind, the convenience store owner who's made headlines by fighting crime with compassion. Jeff Glore, CBS News, Long Island, New York.
And Sohail said, I was just doing what a good Muslim would do. And that is the CBS Evening News for tonight. I'm Katie Couric. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.